Mhm. We were talking to John Smoltz, Hall of Fame pitcher from the Atlanta Braves, and he was talking a little bit about from the pitching standpoint and mound presence, especially when you make a good pitch and somebody in the field makes an error, and that your body language relative to how that player did. When you're recruiting players, what's your philosophy on that, and how how you deal with those kind of disappointing moments at the time, but they're at the same time could mushroom to other problems?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime someone makes an error, there's obviously a level of disappointment. So you see most players, that like the deep breath exhale is like, oh gosh, here we go. But it's about how you interact after that. And I think athletes just have to learn that, the ball is going to find whoever's starting to get into the pit. As soon as you start that downside, the ball finds that person over and over. And so one of my favorite stories in this realm is when I was playing professionally, and I had Madison Shipman playing behind me. She played at University of Tennessee, stud player, All-American. I mean, she's great. And she made one or two errors in a game, but one of them came towards in the later innings as the game was close, and she made the error, and I called time, and I called her to the circle. And after the game, she told me, she was like, I thought you were going to just lay into me. And all I did was put my glove over my face and say, I need you right here because the ball is going to come to you. It's going to find you right now, and I know you can make this play, so as soon as it comes to you, I need you to make that play. Now, I don't remember if the ball actually went to her after that, but, she was ready for the competitive side of me to come out and yell and scream and demand someone make a play, but we're all human, and I think you have to remember that. And a lot of times it is pitchers that get disappointed that an error gets made, but you know what? At some point in time, you gave up a home run too, and your defense couldn't do anything about it. So it's a game of give or take, and we just have to look for players, and as we coach and as we're parenting, instill in players that it's about picking that person up, and it's about, okay, hey, we'll get the next one, because there's always is a next one. So the error is never the end of your playing days.
Right, and you have and baked into the sport of baseball and softball is failure. So as a pitcher, it's a different type of thing than it is for a hitter. And so when you were coaching in softball at the collegiate level, how did you talk to your players about? They had to face people maybe not as good as you, but certainly some really good pitchers that they're going to fail. And so what do you tell them in terms of encouraging them or teaching them the sport?
Well, I think any athlete in baseball, softball, we play a game of failure, especially if you're a hitter. I mean, 3 out of 10 times, you're a pretty good hitter. 4 out of 10 times, you're really good. That means you're failing 6 times out of 10, and you have to be able to come back from that to be successful. And, how many things in life are you good 4 out of 10 times, and you're pretty dang good. So it's a matter of keeping things in perspective too. A lot of what we talk about is not the outcome of your at-bat, but the process of your at-bat. And again, 4 out of 10 times you're successful, that doesn't mean 6 out of 10 you struck out. I mean, you could hit a liner at the third baseman and you're still 0 for 1. So it's looking at the process of your at-bat. Was it a good swing? Did you see good pitches? Was it just a hard out? Like, that still goes in your favor. And pitchers, it's the same thing. I mean, pitching side, you don't play a game of failure as much. But at the end of the day, usually the win and loss is next to your name. I mean, that's why there's a winning pitcher and a losing pitcher. So you have to be able to learn from the losses. You have to be able to handle that that's going to be next to your name and not care, really. I mean, you can pitch 3 great games and still lose, depending on if your team doesn't score or one error's made, or you happen to only give up 3 hits, but one's a home run. I mean, there's just so many things that can factor in. And I think, the biggest thing is we have to work on the process. We have to work on how we frame things to ourselves. That's the biggest thing, is don't look at the loss. If you pitched absolutely terrible for 5 innings, then that's one thing, but you and your coach are probably going to sit down and discuss that. But just because you got the loss that day doesn't mean you didn't do your job. Sure, it goes next to your name, but it's still a team sport. So I think a lot of what we talk about is the process and making sure you put in all the work that you can to be prepared. And then once you're prepared, you go compete and kind of let the game take care of itself.